When golems are pumping through your Minecraft iron farm, your storage is going to fill up in no time with ingots and poppies. But what if they dropped iron blocks? This is your storage before, this is the same storage after. The poppies have even converted to dye. This is how you do it using autocrafting in Minecraft. This is the crafter. I introduced this in my last video and people wanted me to show you how to use it to convert drops into blocks on a farm that produces more than one drop. And the iron farm came out top. So here's how. The first thing we need to understand is that the crafter gives out a redstone signal depending on how many of its grid are taken up. And it doesn't matter how many are in that slot, just that the slot is taken up. So if I were to click, let's say 5 of those slots, you'll see we get a redstone signal of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming out. But if I was to click all of them like this, that gives me a signal of 9. And you can see here I've put different numbers of blocks, a whole stack, half a stack, a single block, plus also a different type of block that's non-stackable. We still only get 5 signal out of it. And we can use this to our advantage. We also need to be careful on how we power this, because the crafter does need power to craft something. If we just shoot a redstone signal in, there you go, leave it on redstone signal in, we can see that that is powered, which is brilliant. That means it'll craft something. However, the one next to it is powered as well, which is going to give us problems if we want a compact design. However, if we power the block next to it, I'll put that redstone on top there just to show that the block has got power. You'll see its little red ears there have turned on, but the one next to it has not. So that hasn't powered the block next to it. And this is how we're going to use the crafter in this design. And this is the module you are going to put underneath the collection chamber of your iron farm. It looks complicated, but I promise you it's a lot less complicated than it looks. To make this in its entirety, this is what you're going to need. Those 2 stacks of 44 red dye, they could be any block that is not going to travel through the system. Red dye should never travel through this system. However, you might want to rename a block, use a different block, whatever you like, I don't mind. Just make sure it's never going to go through the farm. Let's get on with it. It is also worth mentioning that this does not include what it would take to make the iron farm itself. I've got plenty of iron farm tutorials on my channel. Maybe go and check one of those out. There'll be some links in the description. So starting where you want to do your crafting, you're going to place 2 crafters like that, and next to them you're going to place a block, you're going to leave a gap, place another block, leave a gap, place another block. You're going to get a comparator. You're going to place it between those 2 blocks in that direction, between those 2 blocks in that direction. So it's kind of going out that way and out that way. Right click on both those comparators because you want them to go into subtract mode. Then next to the comparator, coming into it, you want to face another comparator like that. And there you want to place another crafter like that. It doesn't matter what the orientation is going to be. They're not going to do any crafting. And then finally, pressing shift, place another block on top of that comparator and another block on top of that comparator. You're going to place redstone there, redstone there, redstone there, and similarly there, and there. So you've got a setup that looks like that. You can then place your chest in front of that as a double chest. Now, if you didn't want to craft 4 crafters, maybe you've only got the resources for 2, you can use a composter that is filled to level 6. You can check that, press F3, and it tells you what level it is when you're looking at it. So that is 2 dots before it's completely full with the white on. And that will give you exactly the same effect as a crafter with 6 of its buttons pushed, because that's how many buttons we need to push on these ones. So come into your crafter and click any 6 of the 9 buttons like that, and then do it the same on the other one, any 6 of the 9 buttons like that. And then on these 2 crafts at the front, on the one on the left, leave them all unclicked. The one on the right, click all of them except for just one. The one in the middle, it doesn't matter which one, but just keep one open. So if you're interested, I'll explain what's happening here, and if not, just skip it. This crafter has got 6, which means there is a signal strength of 6 coming out into the side of this comparator, which I've put on subtract mode. You can tell it's on subtract mode because the little light at the end is on. That means whatever signal is coming out of it, it takes 6 away from. If I got rid of that, it would take 5 away from it, but we're getting rid of 6. Now, if I have 6 things inside here, that means that's going to give a signal strength of 0. If I have 7 things inside here, that gives a signal strength of 1, which will light that up. If I have 8 things in here, that gives a signal strength of 2, which will light that one and that one up. And then if that is completely full, that will light that one and that one because it will be a signal strength of 9. In short, the signal coming out the back of the crafter I'm stood on, which is 6, plus the 3 that go over the top of those blocks make 9, which means a signal strength of 9 coming out of the block that's crafting will loop back and craft the things that's in the grid. So in the iron crafter, we need 9 iron ingots to give that signal strength of 9. However, in the poppy crafter, we've already got a signal strength of 8 because we've clicked all of those in. We just need 1 poppy to go into the middle to make 9. Hopefully that makes sense, but if you want more detail about how comparators work, do let me know in the comments and maybe I'll make a quick video on it. We now need to create the machine that feeds the iron ingots into that crafter and the poppies into that crafter, and I'll go as slow as I can so as you can follow it along. Place a hopper there and a hopper there. You'll need to shift click. Same on top of that and on top of that. Again, you need to shift click. You're then going to get a temporary block and place it on the back of one of the bottom 2 hoppers. Block on the back of that and a block next to it. Get rid of your temporary block and place a redstone torch there and there. You're then going to get another temporary block and place it there and a block on the back of that. Get rid of that temporary block and put a block next to that. You're then going to get one of your slabs and you need to place a slab temporarily on the underside of that block and then place one there. Take that slab back because you're then going to come around and put it next to that. Then get your repeater, put 1 repeater going into that block and 1 repeater going into that block. Just going to fill in that hole. We're then going to place a block on top of that block, a block on top of that block, a block there, and then another block next to both of those. We then need to get our comparator and place a comparator there and a comparator there and some redstone, placing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It doesn't matter that they join up. We have 4 more hoppers to place. The first one is shift clicked into that comparator. You can see the little nub goes into the comparator. This one is shift clicked into the next comparator. Again, the nub goes into that. We're then going to place a temporary block. I'm going to put it on top of that. We're going to place our hopper there. We're going to place a chest here, and then we're going to get rid of that block and place a hopper into that. This chest is our overflow system. The overflow is really important. That is going to catch anything that might fall into the farm that doesn't get filtered through. So anything that is not a poppy and is not an iron ingot will go into the overflow system. And very occasionally, you'll also get a poppy or an ingot go in there, depending on how fast they feed through, depending on how fast your farm is. So now we set the filter system itself. Into the hoppers that are going into these comparators, we need to place our 42 dies. So I'm going to place 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. Notice I've left the first slot open. I'm going to come to the next one, same again, 2nd slot, 3rd slot, 4th slot, and 5th slot. Now they have all got 44 in. Now 44 isn't enough power to get to this bit. If it was, then this would open up that hopper and allow it to reduce the stuff through and into that crafter. What we want is 2 more things for that to happen. So on the poppy side, I'm going to place 2 poppies in there. That is going to allow 1 poppy to go through, which will appear in that bottom hopper right there. And in this one, we're going to place 2 ingots. 1 of them falls through and goes to that bottom hopper there. Every time we now put an ingot into this one or a poppy into this one, that will flow through, but it'll only allow poppies or ingots to flow through. So if we get stuff in here, poppies will go there, ingots will go there. If we get stuff in there, then the ingots go through to that. Right, we're going to put a chest on here and we're just going to test it to make sure that it works. I'm going to place 20 iron ingots and 8 poppies into here like that. That is going to start this working. You can see that one is flashing and we've already got some dye going through there. That has just flashed and we've already got our first block of iron. These are filtering through beautifully. We haven't lost anything into our chest yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to place something that doesn't belong in the system just to check it goes into our filter chest, including this mace that comes from 1.21, which I love. So let's flick all these bits in. Poppies, iron ingots, some jungle planks, some more poppies, some more iron ingots, and let's see what we end up with at the bottom. We should get perhaps an iron block and some dye. Yeah, iron block and some dye. Then we come up to the top and we've got our jungle planks and our mace back. So everything's working beautifully. All you need to do is stick your iron golem spawning chamber on top of this. So I've created an iron golem spawning chamber, and I'm going to spawn some golems in. We've got the standard kill system there with the lava. They're going to be collected through that hopper down in the corner and pushed into the corner by the water, just like any other type of golem kill chamber. Let's just try it with one first. Just going to spawn one golem in. Oh, that's just not one. That's a number of golems. Okay, you've got a very fast iron farm with this one. That's fabulous. Those iron farms are going to go through there. When they die, we're going to end up with stuff spawning into... That's very loud. We're going to end up with stuff spawning into our chest. And we should end up, when we get close enough, we should be able to see that we've got stuff going through. What we're going to do is let's empty out that chest completely, so as we know for sure that everything coming through is brand new. So those golems again are pushing against each other, and they're going to get themselves dead in that lava. This system is going to pull it through, and eventually we're going to see these lights flashing as those iron golems die, popping our poppies through to become red dye, and our iron blocks to become these blocks here. And just for giggles, let's pretend that this iron farm is the most efficient iron farm in the world, and it's lobbing in a load of golems. That's probably plenty. I don't know any iron farm that's going to get that many golems all at the same time. But I've also managed to throw my sword in by mistake, because let's face it, we've all pressed Q when we meant to press W, haven't we? Oh no, there goes my sword. I don't want to lose my netherite sword. That would be terrible, but it's okay. That'll flow into the system and into the overflow. You can see we've got loads of poppies coming through, so we've had an overflow of one extra poppy as well. And inside the collection, we've already got 13 blocks of iron and 27 red dyes. Thank goodness they're all dead now. Now, obviously, if you wanted to keep the poppies and not turn them into red dye, well, all you need to do is take that second crafter out and feed that into a barrel or a chest. They'll just come through as poppies like normal. They'll still get sorted out, and your iron will still turn into blocks. I think that is a pretty cool system, and not that difficult either. You could use this with any farm or any combination of farms you like. Maybe on a gold farm. Perhaps you want to do it on a kelp farm. Maybe you want to join up a creeper farm and a sugarcane farm to make rockets. There's all sorts of possibilities, and it uses exactly the same principle. Let me know what you think. I'd be really interested to know what you have been doing with this brand new crafter block. It's absolutely amazing. Definitely my new favourite block. So many possibilities. And I will look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.